I learned that I could retire at 57. From 55 and up, there was this policy that you could retire without being penalized using your 401k. I learned it from my finance advisor. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And I had already been talking to him about traveling in a van. And I said, I don't have a big van yet. I got a caravan and that's it. But my goal is to be able to stand up in the morning and, I need a taller van to do that. And he's like, you can do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I could. That is wonderful. And I started watching YouTube, people traveling in vehicles of all kinds. And I thought, that looks wonderful. You can go throughout the whole country and see everything. And to me, I felt like I was missing that. And I decided that it was time for me to retire and go enjoy my life and take a little control. So that's what I'm doing. I'm meeting people, having fun the way I want to have fun. And this has been good. This has been the best I could have ever imagined. A lot of people ask me, why did I come up with this? I wanted an open concept. I wanted to be able to see from the front to the back. I needed that light from the windows, all of this to be instantly seen when I woke up in the morning. I wanted a place for my sister to be able to sleep if she was traveling with me, so I had the couch built. And everything in between was flexible. It is a U-shaped formation, which is great when you're working or if I'm exercising. And I have a kitchen over here right in the slider doorway, and I love it. Let's start with that. The kitchen was designed so that I would have counter space. I actually have more counter space here than I do in my apartment. I love the pantry. The extra storage down here is partly pantry and other kitchen items, and it gives me enough space and more than enough. Everything is within reach. I don't have to run out into a different room to get anything. Pantry, silverware, my appliances, everything is right where I can reach it without taking a full step forward. When it's time to design your home, tiny or van, you know what kind of a person you are, how you do your meals. I've met people that they never cook. Why would they need a kitchen? Why would they need the pantry? Those are good questions. I prepare my foods, so I gave myself the extra space. What surprised me about that I used the microwave is I had no plans on putting a microwave in. To do RV insurance, I needed a permanent cooking appliance. I didn't want anything on the counter permanent. So I said, okay, we'll take one of the upper cabinets and put a microwave in, same size as at home. And I thought it's just gonna sit there. I'll use it for storing stuff in it. But I use it. I prepare things in the crockpot or the skillet, and I portion it out, freeze it, pop it in the microwave, warm it up, and I'm back on the road in 20 minutes. And I didn't hit a restaurant. I'm eating healthy, so that was a bonus. Even though it uses 1,200 watts an hour, I'm only using it for 3 minutes, maybe tops. Same with an 80-liter fridge freezer. I knew that I was going to be preparing foods, freezing them, and then pulling them out as I needed, so I wanted that. This can be one tip that I've learned with my kitchen that might help you. The wood looks nice, but you do have to take care of it. And even if you are the best caregiver to your kitchen counter, all these pieces of wood can come apart. If I could have changed it, I would have gone with a laminated countertop. So keep that in mind. It's simple, easy to clean, and you can get it in a variety of colors so they look beautiful. So at this end of the counter is my sink, and I love it. If I wanted to, I could give you a shower. I don't cook under the cabinetry, so I push this aside, and then I cover the sink with the board that it came with. My stove goes right on top of it. And nowadays, I use a diffuser. It helps heat the whole pan instead of just getting certain spots without it. I was comfortable using a camp stove before. The camp stove to me is comfort, cooking on gas. I grew up using gas, so I like it. If I need to, if it's a hot day, I can blow any smoke steam right out of the van. So if I need more counter space, I have the Lagoon table. And if you don't need it out, you can take it and put it away. If you haven't figured it out yet, everything in tiny living has to have a multi-purpose. This is a big van compared to some of them. So I have a luxury. Not everything has more than one use, but my Lagoon table does. And I love it. So I can use this in the kitchen. I can use this having my dinner here in the swivel chair. If I want to, I can take the whole thing and move it over to the couch. At the moment, I'm enjoying it over here. Gotta have a little change once in a while. Keep that in mind. If you're building out a van, what can you do with something more than one way? The fridge and freezer are under the bench here, and it's well ventilated because it really does need that open air venting. So there's venting on the front and the side. It's an 80-liter Bodega cooler, fridge, freezer, and the bench is this high because the cooler is so tall. So I do need a little footstool, to put my feet on when I'm sitting back here. But I love it. It's so worth that little stool, to be having my cooler. So the reason I went with a cooler is because cold air settles, hot air rises. So if you have a fridge and you're opening the door, you lose more cold air every time you open that door compared to the cooler. You actually save the power. It doesn't have to run as often. It does take power. So you have to be aware of how much power do you want to use for your cooler or fridge and how much space you want to use. Because I knew I was putting in a 5-foot bench, that was my priority, was the cooler and then my bathroom. I figured everything out from what was left over, and then the dresser. My bathroom, I've kept very simple. Because the cooler is high, I have wiggle room in the bathroom area if I ever change my mind, want to do something else. But at this point in time, I'm just using a commode toilet, which is a bucket with a regular toilet seat on it. And I clean it out and I go on with my day. There's nothing fancy about it. I do not have a shower. I don't plan on ever having a shower in my van. And when I was researching my build, I listened to a lot of people who'd been on the road and they put showers in their vans. They didn't use them. They stored things in their showers. And I'm like, nope, I don't need that wall, because that's what it would end up being, is something in my way. And I didn't want that. I wanted the open feel. I had already started transitioning and not getting a shower every single day. Even when I was working, my body, my skin, my hair is just so much healthier going once a week, getting a shower, washing my hair, maybe even every 2 weeks, depending on what I'm doing. So transitioning into the van without the shower was no issue whatsoever. I probably get a shower more often on the road than I was at home. I've always tried to get as many people around me as possible. Living by myself, back home, it didn't happen. But out on the road, with having the couch and having the swivel, and I can put an extra seat over here, and I can probably throw in another seat somewhere. I'm getting the company I like. I'm around people. I have a full house, if you want to call it that. I love having the couch. At this point, there's nothing I would change in it. I might change it to cloth. That's it. Like we said, everything should have more than one purpose. It's a wonderful dresser, but it's also my nightstand. And when I'm taking anything out of here, it's there to catch everything that falls out of the medicine cabinet. So it's handy. And I love the size of these drawers. I mean, they're deep, they're thick, they're heavy, they're really strong. I couldn't ask for a bigger dresser. I didn't think I would get it. I thought I'd get something about this size, about half the size. So for me, who likes to pack everything, it was wonderful. At the foot of the bed, I did end up with cabinets here. This whole thing was later down the line of designing. And I'm glad I have these, because if I'm traveling with my sister, she gets a drawer or two of the dresser and I move things up into here. And that way, when I sit up in bed, I can get to my clothes right away. and she can get to her things right here at the dresser. So it works out great. And then just under the bed, I have some more storage. You can see I have my battery banks and then just some other gear that makes it easier for me to get out and go on adventures. For me, one of the great things about traveling in the van is how easy it makes it for me to get out and see cool things and explore new places. When I am on the road, I get to go places I never would have gone before. One of the best tools for finding new places to explore is Onyx Off-Road, who is sponsoring this video. Onyx is an app and website that basically is my tool to help me find my off-road routes and adventures. I am not the most extreme off-roader on YouTube, but I will show you how it helps me. I start by filtering my searches to show easy routes that are wide enough for my van and tall enough. They have a U.S. Forest Service dispersed camping map. I use that to help me find camp spots. The green means it's an easy trail, and the yellow means there's dispersed camping allowed. I can also check the reviews ahead of time to see if anybody else has had any hazards reported for those roads that I would like to go on. The other feature I like is the cell coverage map layer and the wildfire and smoke layers. Onyx Off-Road has a ton of other features, so check them out by going to the link in the description. Use code TINY20 to get 20% off of a premium or elite membership. Now let me tell you a little bit about how much my van cost. I found this van on Marketplace. She's a 2020 Ford Transit mid-roof. She only had 14,000 miles on her, and I'm a third owner. I feel blessed that I found her. I paid $45,000 for her. The following year, I paid about $1,400 for a new transmission. You have to set money aside. I can't repeat that enough. In my budget, I set aside $2,000 a month for spending, but I also have money going into the savings because I know I have to pay for things as they come up or take care of things so that those problems don't come up later. It doesn't always hit $2,000 a month. I know this is at the high end of my costs because right now I want to go to places. If I want to go out to dinner, if I want to go get the pass for the national parks for the year, all those things that I have never seen. If there's a fee, I can look at it and go, is this really what I want to pay? And if it is, then I'll do it. 2 years down the road, I don't expect to be going to the same places that I'm covering now. I know eventually I'll be picking up a part-time job. What it's going to be, I don't know. But I know that was my plan before I retired, that I would eventually get a part-time job and adjust my take from my 401k, my retirement. I'm good with that. I just want to enjoy my retirement before something, stopped me from being able to travel. I want to do it now, and what I do later, I can sit back and relax and not spend so much money. Eventually I think I'll be more $1,200 a month at the most. And that's a goal. I consider myself a snowbird. I have my apartment back home, but it's in the home of my family. So I know my home is safe. That works for me. Some people are surprised that I'm not doing this full time and have no apartment back home. Everybody's different. This works for me. Maybe in a year, I'll change, but I don't need to change today. I like what I'm doing. As you've noticed, I've been standing throughout the whole van. When I was in the RAV4 and Dodge Caravan, there wasn't any standing. And this has been wonderful. When I was all cramped up in those other two vehicles, I was miserable. Just miserable. I know people who can handle it and love it. I couldn't. And I knew for my retirement and traveling, I needed something to stand up. And it's been wonderful. I have my bed on a wedge at the upper part because of my stomach, my acid reflux, and it works great. I tried it without, wondered why I wasn't feeling well, and I realized, raise the head, and I have had no problem since. It's all memory foam. It's a twin size bed. I did have to cut some of the memory foam off at the bottom, but that's okay. I fit it in my window. It works great. Keeps the heat out, keeps the cold out. I have reflectives on the outside of them, and that helps. But the foundation of the bed is a board that has holes throughout. So no matter what kind of bed you're going to use, make sure you have airflow. That is how it was explained to me, that you won't have mold issues. You may be wondering, with my bed being so high, how do I get into it? That 2-step ladder, it's been wonderful. And it folds up. That's like my favorite piece in the van. It really is. For a short person, we like to be able to reach everything. That 2-step ladder is perfect. This is the garage area. As you notice, my bed is higher than the average, but I wanted the storage. And as you can see, my Bluetti stands pretty tall, and it still needs airflow around it. I went with the Bluetti because it's plug and play, which is how they describe it. There's a little bit more to it, but basically it's plug and play. For the build out in the van, there was a lot of wires. If you see my electric system, you see a lot of wires. It looks confusing, but I don't have to worry about that. I just have my app on my phone, and I can control everything I need to turn on and off, keep track of how much power is coming in. And if you notice here, I also have an inverter up front. When I'm driving, I can pull power in, and that's really where I see the increase in power. I also have 2 power banks because more power. I did not feel comfortable getting one of those systems with all the batteries and learning how to use that. This to me was complicated enough because I knew nothing about it, and it felt comfortable enough to try it. Would I ever switch over to one of those systems? Maybe now. I would if I ever came upon that occasion. I'm more comfortable with the whole setup now of how to keep track of your power and so forth. So maybe it wouldn't be so overwhelming to do it a different way. You have to be aware of your storage. I'm not a minimalist. I could go bigger to get everything that I wanted in, but I'm afraid if I go bigger, I might keep going bigger. My sister is all for me not being excessive. She's a minimalist and she thinks that it's perfect. I understand her. I just have trouble with that. So I accept the storage I have, and I work with the storage I have, and I'm okay with it. And if somebody walks into my van and sees something like my gym bag sitting on the bed, they're okay with it too. Everybody out here is very relaxed, and accepting of whatever you want to be. People say that you're going to be lonely out here. And the truth of it is, you're not lonely. That community, you didn't get this back home. So if you are worried about being alone on the road, or you're looking for advice, I found that social media is a wonderful thing. Facebook for women, there's the Butterfly Tribe, and then there's another one, it's Road Trip Her. They have been great. And you can go to events. The Butterfly Tribe, they have an event calendar all over the country. It's a great way to meet your neighbors. And I say that because these will be the people that you reach out to and go, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm only 2 hours away. It's like your sisters that you didn't know. It's just family. Don't stay at home because you're afraid. Stay at home. You might be afraid. There's more likely something will happen to you in your own neighborhood back home than there is on the road. We haven't had any problems. We're doing good.